Okay, right. I hope you've all looked at trigonometry and have got a good understanding for it. I just want to run through what you should have discovered by now. Okay, just a few things that I want you to be aware of, and how I set it out, and what you should look for. Okay, so you don't make mistakes. Anyway, the first thing to note is that trig only works on right angle triangles. And the first thing you have got to be able to do is realize when to use trig as opposed to when to use Pythag. You'll only use trigonometry if you're involving an angle either here or here. So you're either given that as theta or x and you've got to find it, or you might be given it as 60 degrees. Either way, another angle has been involved. Okay, and if that's the case, then I'll put it down as theta. If that's the case, you are virtually guaranteed to use trig. Trig is the one that involves angles. If there's no angles, it's Pythag, but they must be right angle triangles at this level anyway, at this moment in time. Anyway, the first thing you've got to be able to do if it's trig is be able to label the sides. Even when this triangle's rotated in different orientations, it's all with reference to this angle. This side is the opposite side to the angle, so it's O. The one that is opposite the right angle is always the longest side, is called the hypotenuse, and that is H. And the side connecting the right angle and the angle is the adjacent. Okay, there are, or so you've discovered so far, trig is all about the relationship by dividing any two given sides. It's called a ratio of these two sides. Okay, and for a given angle, the division of any two sides for a given angle, what they divide to gives you the same number every time for a given angle. And the rules that you've seen so far, and there are 3 of them, there are 6 in total really if you go into A level, but there are 3 ways you can look at two given sides. The first one is sin theta is equal to the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. Okay, so if you've ever got O and H, or opposite and hypotenuse, you divide them. That is called the sin rule. The cos theta, cos rule, is if you've got the adjacent and you divide it by the hype. And lastly, the tan rule. Tan theta is if you divide the opposite divided by the adjacent. Okay, and the way I remember this, the way I would suggest remembering, and this isn't SOHCAHTOA, as some people say it, it's a simple thing. Some old hag came and had tea one afternoon. Okay, and you can clearly see if that's the case, some old hag came and had tea one afternoon, you can see the S is for the sine, it is op divided by hypotenuse. The cos is your adjacent divided by your hypotenuse, and your T for tan is your opposite divided by the adjacent. Some old hag came and had tea one afternoon. So just a couple of things there. You need to be able to label the sides correctly. It only works for right angle triangles. You will use trig generally 99% of the time when there's an angle involved. You certainly won't be using trig if there's no angle involved, but it could be Pythag. Okay, so an angle involved generally means it's trig. And these are the rules: the sin rule, the cos rule, the tan rule, and we've got a way of remembering it. Some old hag came and had tea one afternoon. It just remembers the order that these things come in. I just want to show you the 3 different types of question for each of these equations, the ratios: the tan, the cos, the sin. Okay, this is the procedure that I want you to follow every time that you do these trig questions. I don't know how Hegarty goes into it in that much depth. I just look at the questions and think they are very good, I have to say, but certainly later on the 2-step questions anyway. So just to make sure that we're all doing the same thing here, I want to do each of these examples, and there's 9 of them, so there's more below. So this is the way I want you to structure it, to set it out. I don't want any shortcuts taken, and it's very important that you label the sides carefully to begin with. So the first questions you should say, it's a right angle triangle, so it could be Pythag or trig, and you know I'm talking about trig, so you know it's all going to be trig for every one of these questions. And the reason being, there's an angle involved, and as soon as you see an angle involved, you label the sides O, A and H. Opposite is there. Hypotenuse is opposite the right angle always, it's the longest side, and that leaves the adjacent with the two, the right angle and the angle. You then circle, you can do this bit in your head, I don't mind, but you circle the two that are you're involving. I know that, and I need to know that. I don't need to know anything about this H. So I'm looking for a rule that involves O and A. So you can do this bit in your head. Some old hag came and had tea one afternoon. And you can see the only one that involves O and A is the tan rule. This is A and H. This is O and H, so it is this rule. So you can do this bit in your head, but what you do need to write down is the rule that you're about to use. So you write it properly. That is tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. At this stage now, after you've labelled, obviously, you've identified the rule, you substitute into it after writing it down. So tan theta. Theta is the angle that you're using, so it is on this occasion 26. And it is equal to opposite, well that is x, and it is over, in other words, divided by 13. Now to unravel this to get what x equals, then what you have to do is get rid of this bit here by timesing both sides by 13. So x in fact is equal to 13 lots of tan 26. Okay, and the calculator used to put brackets around the angle. Okay, so that's what we need to write down, all of these steps, and then finally we write the answer down, and it will tell you to 1 dp, 3 sig fig, whatever. So you're rounding. Be careful. If any of you are making mistakes on these, it's generally because you're rounding. So if I go to my calculator out and just type that in, you make sure you're in degrees mode by pressing shift mode. You shouldn't be in any other. It is degrees 2. Okay. You want to check also shift mode that you're in Math.io number 1. Your calculators might be different. Actually, think about these. These are changed, but Math.io and degrees mode, just degrees mode will do with your new calculators. Anyway, it is 13 times by tan 26. So tan, not tan to the minus 1, we'll come on to that. Tan 26, close brackets, round it to it's a length. Okay, it's measured in meters, and I don't know. I'm going to suggest we do all of these to 1 dp. So that's, you look at this, right immediately to the right of it. If it's 5 or more, you add 1 on. If not, you just forget it. So it just stays 6.3. So you tell the examiner it is 6.3. The units, it's a length, it's in meters, to 1 dp, and that's that one done. Okay. The next style of question. Okay. Again, we all know this is trig, but I want you to go through that rigmarole, because in an exam you won't be told it's trig. You'll just have to realise there's an angle involved. This is your opposite, this is your adjacent, this is your hypotenuse. The two being involved are these two, and that's O and A, and as you can see, it is tan again. So if I just line off down here, then I'll write the rule down. It is tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. You substitute in the angle, well I know it, it is tan 63, and it is equal to opposite. Well, opposite is 47, and me adjacent is x. Now I'm going to show you a long way, but this is weird because on this occasion we initially had x on the top, but we now got x on the bottom. Now what you're going to do is to get rid of this on the bottom is times, because it's no good on the bottom, times both sides through by x. This is a long-winded way of doing it, but I'm going to show you a shortcut and just remind you what to do when this happens. Times through by x ends up with x. In fact, I'll do it as a curly x so you can understand. X multiplied by tan 63 is equal to 47. And then you want to undo this to get x on its own. You're going to divide through by this. So x finally is equal to 47, and it is divided by tan 63. Okay, I hope you can spot when this happens. You can jump straight to here without this middle step here. You don't need this. All you realize is when x is on the bottom here, you interchange the entire thing here and you swap it with these two change position. Okay, only when x is on the bottom. X was not on the bottom here. Okay, most of you realize this, but there'll be some weaker ones amongst you who just keep on making mistakes. X is not on the bottom, so we just brought that up and left it there. Look, 13 came there and it times that. That's what I wrote here. Okay, I didn't need to interchange it because I'm just trying to get x on its own. So x comes up, that must go down, and that's what we've got just here. So you don't have to write this step in future. You are allowed just to go from here to this step. And then finally, x is simply equal to, and on the calculator, just bring it across. You can leave it as a fraction with 47 over tan 63, and then press equals 1 dp. It's a length, so it's 23.9 meters to 1 dp. Okay, and that's the answer. Now, just to come back to this, just to show that that is a division, you get the same answer. You could just type in 47 divided by tan 63. Just means exactly the same thing, 23.9. Okay, so you can use the fraction button or the division. It means the same thing. A fraction is a division. Okay, so let's have a look at the next style. So this is all to do with tan. And the third type of question, look, if you'll notice, initially the unknown was here. Okay, so it could be here, here, or here. It was here. On this style of question, the unknown was here. On this style of question, the unknown is the angle. Okay, so here we go. Looking at this question, it's obviously trig because an angle involved. This is the opposite. This is adjacent. This is the hype. So again, the one containing the bits we know is O and A. It is tan again. So tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So substituting in, I end up with tan. I don't know what theta is, so I leave it as theta. It is equal to opposite, which is 38, divided by adjacent, which is 21. Now at this stage, everything's got an inverse, an opposite. So day, the opposite is night, life, death. Unfortunate times talking about that, but you've got timesing, the opposite dividing, adding, the opposite is, or the inverse is taking, subtracting. If you want to cut away this, you want to remove that, cut it away to leave you with just theta, then you pick it up, cut it away, and you throw it over to this side. This is how I like to say it. What you're applying is, when it goes onto the side, it becomes tan to the minus 1. You want to know the proper name of that, okay, because some of you will do A-level. The proper name of that is arctan. Okay, some people call it inverse tan, but its proper name is arctan. So tan to the minus 1, when you pick it up and throw it over and you remove it from theta, it goes over there, and you're applying tan to the minus 1 to the 38 over 21. Okay, its proper name, that proper name there is arctan. So all we've got to do is type that into the calculator. Yep. Okay, so calculator, to engage the tan to the minus 1, you press shift tan, and it is, you can use the fraction button or the division. So fraction button if you want. We've got 38 and it is over 21, and close the brackets, equals. And 1 dp, again, let's say it's 61.1. It's angle, so it's degrees. So theta is equal to 61.1 degrees to 1 dp. And that's the answer. So these are the three styles of question. Okay, the first one was where the unknown was on the top. The second style was where the unknown is on the bottom. And the third was where the unknown was the angle. There's three styles of question for tan theta. There'll be three styles of question for sin and three styles of question for cos. So here we go for the next three, just to make sure you're all right with it. So here we go. You'll have to excuse the writing there. I can't get rid of it only because I'm not connected to starboard. Okay, so again we've got an angle marked here. I'm just going to go a little bit faster here. So angle mark there, this is opposite, this is adjacent, this is hype. You circled the bits that you know and need to know. There's nothing I need to know about this. O and H, I'll come up here, but it is sin. Okay, so the sin rule is what I'm using, so I write the sin rule down. Sin theta equals op over hype. Replace the theta with 52. So sin of 52 is equal to opposite, which is our x, over hype, hype, which is 52. So when you've just got a number down here, you just times through by it and bring it up. You don't interchange it because it's only do that when x is on the bottom. So just bring it up. So therefore x is equal to 52 multiplied by sin of 52. And that equals, and again it is a length, so it's in meters, and we'll do it to 1 dp again. So here we go, 52 multiplied by sin of the angle 52 equals 40 point, well, add one on and it becomes 10. You can't have 10, 0, add one to there becomes 41, but you need the 0 to tell them that you've rounded to 1 dp. So 41.0, and it is meters to 1 dp, and that is the full workings that I expect. Drawing, ideally circled, certainly need that. Well, you certainly need all of this with the units and what you've rounded to. That's the first one. The next one, again, angle, so it's trig, that's your opposite, that is your adjacent, that's your hype. Circle what you know and what you need to know. And again it is sin. So sin theta is equal to opposite over hype. Substitute in. Sin of 31 degrees is our angle this time, 31 degrees. The opposite is 12 divided by the hype, well that's x. Now when x is on the bottom, when the unknown you're trying to find is on the bottom, that's where I say you interchange these two. So the whole of that comes down and x goes up. So 12 is being divided by the sin of 31 degrees. So x is equal to, and again you can use the fraction or the division. So here we go. We've got 12 divided by sin and 31 degrees. Close brackets, and again it's a length, it's in meters, 1 dp will say 23.3. 23.3 meters to 1 dp. Okay, so that's that one there. Next one, label these sides, it's trig because an angle involved, that's opposite, that's hype, that's adjacent. What I know and what I need to know, so it is sin again, so sin theta equals opposite over hype. Substitute in sin theta, well theta is theta, we don't know it, equals opposite, well that is 13, over hype, well that's 37. Remember what I said, to cut this away, you cut it and throw it over, and that leaves you with just theta there, but when you throw this over it becomes arc sin. So sin to the minus 1 of 13 over 37. So remember that there is, proper name is arc sin, that there. Okay, so type that into the calculator, and to engage it you press shift or your inverse or whatever this is here, sin, and you've got sin to the minus 1, and you can do it as a division. 13 divided by 37, it's an angle, and to 1 dp 20.6 degrees, so theta equals 20.6 degrees to 1 dp. That's that one done. Okay, so those are the 3 styles of question involving sin. And don't forget this is arc sin. And have a guess, it'll be arc cos for the last one. Okay, here we go. 3 types with the cos. As you can see, this is opposite, this is adjacent, this is hype. Again, circle and circle. You end up with A over H is cos. So cos theta is adjacent over hype. Some old hag came that team one afternoon. We'll get you that there. You then substitute into it. So cos theta, well that's 51 degrees, is equal to adjacent, well that's x, over hype, well that's 38. Again, x isn't on the bottom, so we only need to cut this away, so you just bring it up, you don't interchange. So x is equal to 38 multiplied by cos 51. So x is equal to, it's a length, so it's going to be 1 dp, and the answer will be meters. So it is 38 multiplied by cos of 51, close brackets. And we get 23.9. So 23.9 meters to 1 dp. That's that one done. Next one, angle. So it's got to be trig. So this is the opposite. This is the hype. This is the adjacent. The two involved is that and that. There's nothing I need to know about the O. So it is cos. So I end up with cos theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Substitute in cos of 71 degrees, that's the angle. A, well that's 12, over the hype, well that's x. When x, or the unknowns on the bottom, that is when you interchange these two. Okay, so you end up with x is equal to 12 over 12 divided by cos 71. So x is simply equal to, and calculator out, and all I've got to do for that is 12 divided by cos of 71, close brackets, equals, it's a length, it's in meters, to 1 dp is 36.9, so 36.9 meters to 1 dp. Okay, and that brings us to the last one, and again it's trig because there's an angle involved. That's the opposite, that's the hype, that's the adjacent. Circle the two you know and need, so these two. It's cos, so it's cos theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse, and theta is left theta because we don't know it, is equal to adjacent is 31 over, and the hypotenuse is 40. And again, to cut this away, to get theta on its own, because after all that's what we want, you throw it over and it becomes cos to the minus 1, which its proper name is arc cos. Okay, and it is arc cos of 31 over 40, and again it's degrees, so be aware of the units of the answer, be careful with those, and round it carefully to 1 dp. I think we'll do again. So shift cos to engage cos to the minus 1, and it is 31 divided by 40. Okay, press equals, and we get to 1 dp 39.2. So 39.2 degrees to 1 dp. You've seen me set these all out. That's 9 questions done very quickly, and that's how you set them out every time. Every time without fail, I should look at your work and be able to see that exact duplication. You know, so that's how I want it set out. No shortcuts. Okay. Continue with the work with the quizzes set on Heggerty Maths, and towards the end of the week, the beginning of the next session, I will put up a worksheet that I want you to answer, and then I want you to post replies to Google, a photo of it to Google Classrooms to show me your work, okay, of the worksheet that I'm going to set up, but I'm not doing that quite yet. Okay, so I hope that's cleared up some of the ways I want it set out and how you know, any problems you might have. Okay.